Amen.
How big of them? Yeah. It was a bit, and wait, there was no one plan.
Okay, it is 6 p.m. and we'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Wednesday, September 10th meeting of the Planning Board for the town of Lincolnville. We have several items on the agenda, but before we get started, we'd like to introduce the folks that are here at the up here. If you wouldn't, Joan, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Oh, sure. I'm Joan Richardson. I'm an alternate planning board.
Dick Vermeulen, member.
Earl Brown, member. Dick Butler, chair.
Frank Terrio, code officer. Sandy Dello.
Nancy Weiser.
First item of business is going to be to make Joan Richardson a voting member for this meeting. Complete a short member. I motion that Joan Richardson voting member. Second. All in favor? Okay. First item on the agenda is the previous planning board meeting minutes that we have to approve to draft. So these are the minutes from the meeting of July 30th. And I'd like to make a motion that we accept these minutes as written. I'm second that. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Now we'll get to the meeting. The next item on the agenda is the subdivision. This is a pre-application meeting for a proposed subdivision that Peak Grading Association will be presenting for a proposed subdivision on map 17 lot 64. Tyler Durant will be presenting. Is that you, Mr. Grant? Okay. Before we start, I'll make a couple of comments. Get to my page here. This is a pre-application meeting. Basically, it means that this is a meeting. There are no decisions will be made at this meeting. This is a meeting for the board to understand the nature of the proposed use and required submissions, and it allows the applicant to understand the development review process and required submissions. With that said, Mr. Durant, if you would like to step up to and tell us what this is all about, please.
Okay. My name is Tyler Durant. I'm a land surveyor with Gartley and Dorsey Engineering and Surveying in Camden. I'm here representing Deep Creek Grazing Association. President is David Hirschfeld. This is a two-lot division, so it's kind of unconventional in that manner. And the reason that it's a two-lot subdivision was as of the beginning of 2022, lot 64 actually used to extend all the way down to Route 1. And in September 2022, this parcel was split off and sold from the current owner to Hank Revocable Trust. So that would have been the first division of this parcel. The remaining land got sold to Doug Clayton, who received it in 2023, and 3 months later then sold this upper portion to Deep Creek Grazing Association, who at the time already owned all the adjoining land in Northport. Used to be what was known as the MBNA Point Lookout facility. So effectively, this lot has been split once here. This sale of the upper portion was a sale to an adjoiner, which is at the time of the exempt division from the standpoint of subdivision. So that's the reason that this is a two-lot subdivision. There's already been one previous division of it, and then this prior exempt division will no longer be an exempt division because he's dividing land that he had received. In 2022, Gartley and Dorsey actually did a subdivision for the adjoining land for Deep Creek Grazing, where we divided the parcel into 4 lots. Yes, sorry, 3 lots, and then as of this year in July, we actually took lot 2 of that subdivision and divided it further into 2 lots. So there's an upper lot here, and then this lot here extends all the way up to Knight Pond and down to Route 1.
Tyler, that's a good question. Do you have an authorization limit?
I do, yes.
We would need it.
Yep, you want it right now?
I'll just-
Yeah, I'm gonna make copies of them. Really, the primary objective of this is David Hirschfeld is interested in selling all of his interest here. So this upper proposed lot is being conveyed with his upper lot in Northport. And the lower lot, proposed lot 2 in Lincolnville, is proposed to be sold with this large parcel. That was part of the Point Lookout subdivision. So it's kind of unusual in the sense that the frontage for this upper lot is actually going to be along here on Serene Drive. The frontage will actually be in Northport. And that's going to be the case actually for both lots. Proposed lot 2 will have its frontage on Route 1, actually. So there are a couple interesting things that kind of will restrict this, especially this upper lot. There's a 500-foot elevation of Duck Trap Mountain that is a restricted area. Anything above 500 feet is effectively a no-build zone. This green shaded area is the NNAP exemplary habitat area that's been designated on the comprehensive plan. And on top of that, probably about half to 3/4 of the lot experiences grades in excess of 15%. So effectively, there's not a huge amount of building opportunity on that lot, which David recognizes. Again, this upper lot is meant to be sold not for the developability of it, but more for buffer for the basic piece that we're going to work for. That being said, we did have Mark Schwartz, who is a licensed site evaluator, dig test pits on both of the proposed lots. There is passing soils towards this lower end where the terrain flattens out significantly.
Will that be shown on the updated plan?
It'll be shown on, on the submitted plan, yeah, absolutely. So yes, you have 2 passing test pits here. I believe the other 2 passing test pits on this lot were sited roughly in this area.
You started to mention what the reason for this is.
Yes.
Can you explain that to everybody, please?
Yeah, so Mr. Hirschfeld's interested in selling in Northport, along with this adjacent land that he owns in Lincolnville. So lot 4 of the Northport subdivision is proposed to be sold with lot 1 of the Lincolnville subdivision. Lot 2 of the Northport subdivision is proposed to be sold with lot 2 in Lincolnville. And the plan for the Lincolnville subdivision will make that note on there. And I assume that David would want to write into the deed for the properties covenants and restrictions that states explicitly that these lots are intended to be sold in common, and unless, and it may not be redivided unless adequate frontage is provided, that meets either Northport or Lincolnville's road frontage requirements and other restrictions of the subdivision ordinances.
Plus you have a 5-year restriction on them.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, he doesn't have, his goal here is not to have these lots separated. It's just, he ended up buying this extra land after he'd already done the original subdivision in Northport. He bought this original subdivision in 2022, 2023, he bought this additional land effectively after the subdivision had already been approved. It was kind of for him at the time, just buffer land, to have a little bit of, forested area on the side of this property.
So where those two proposed lots are, to the west of that, does he own any land?
No,
Okay,
no. So this land in the Northport subdivision, this is all the land that he owns here. He does own a piece across Knights Pond. But in Lincolnville, this is his only holding in Lincolnville.
Could you talk to us a little bit about the road for Route 1 to get to the property?
This road?
No, the whatever road is gonna be getting to these two lots.
There's no road proposed to get to these two lots, but this effectively will be access to this joint lot between Lincolnville and Northport piece.
So, and you got, well, so in other words, it's gonna be a 50-foot wide easement or right of way to get to the property?
Well, lot 2 of the Northport subdivision owns the fee in the road. There's this lot is accessed by a 50-foot wide right of way
Right.
over lot 2.
But to get into Lincolnville, how are you getting to the property?
By foot. I mean, there's no access to these lots anticipated.
But you mentioned
have to
that,
have, but there has to be. For example, that's a dead end subdivision for Lincolnville, you're gonna have to have either a rotary or a hammerhead for emergency rescue people, that has to be in the subdivision. So,
Well, there's access up to the top here, which has a huge turnaround area that can be.
yeah, but that's not into the subdivision that we're approving in Lincolnville.
This land will be owned by the same owner, the Lincolnville piece and the Northport piece. So
But it's
that's
still a separate, our subdivision is not a Northport subdivision. To go by our ordinance to satisfy it, we have to satisfy what we require of the subdivision that we can't approve anything on the Northport side,
right.
right? So the only thing we can approve is what we're supposed to have for a legal subdivision in Lincolnville. So we need to have access to it, we've got to have an emergency equipment termination in the subdivision.
Well, I mean, does it have to be in the actual Lincolnville piece? I mean,
Yeah.
why is that?
Well, if you take a look at our ordinance, it says in. Let's see. Let me get it for you. It's, and I run it through legal, that you have to have that in outside. of the ordinance. It's section 126067. And I run this by MMA and by our ordinance. It has got to be approved of having that in our subdivision. There's no delineation that would identify it in being in another category. Section 12.6. Dead-end streets shall be constructed to provide a cul-de-sac for large vehicle turnaround with the following requirements for radius, so on and so forth. So it shall be constructed, which means we have to have it for approval.
Well, it is constructed here. I mean,
It's not in Lincolnville.
but this lot in Lincolnville is going to be made with the
I
lot in
don't know how
North.
you look at this, we're talking two separate subdivisions, or two separate divisions.
So would the best course forward be have a joint meeting between Northport and Lincolnville?
No, this is by the way legal.
Well, I mean-
Legal said, we have nothing to do with what's taking place in. So what I thought you were saying that what you had coming from Northport was a road accessing these two lots. You do not have that.
No, there's no road to be proposed.
It's not a subdivision then. It's landlocked.
It's not landlocked. If this owner owns this piece of land.
Yeah, but it's two different towns.
It is two different towns, but I mean, the definition of tract or parcel of land within subdivision ordinance is all contiguous land in the same ownership, which this would be.
Okay, Tyler, what I just read to you.
Yeah.
Okay. I ran this by MMA.
Yeah.
It's not illegal. And it says, absolutely, it says there shall be. So
Right.
that doesn't say it can be in an adjoining state or town. So that's not there.
I know in the subdivision ordinance, it states that if a subdivision is to bridge municipalities, that there should be joint meetings
It
between.
doesn't say that in here.
It says in the state statute.
We're not holding this against you.
Yeah.
This is what we have to address legal. We have to have legal say, well, yeah, it's okay to do that, but that's not what they said.
So this property cannot be divided unless a road is constructed to these lots.
You cannot be making, what you're creating in Lincolnville is two landlocked lots.
They're not landlocked though, if they're conveyed with the adjoining parcel. If this owner owns this land and this land, they can access across their property to get to the.
Okay, 5 years down the road, if I want to buy one of those two lots.
Yeah.
I can buy it.
You'd have to buy this adjacent land too,
No.
That's gonna be stated on the subdivision plan.
What is?
That lot 2 of the Lincolnville subdivision is to be conveyed with lot 2 of the Northport subdivision. It's gonna be a restriction, a condition of condition of the plan.
A lot of ordinance doesn't address that.
Yeah, but if it's stated on the plan and is approved by the planning board, does that not make it?
What we're going to need, we need to have something, a technical write-up, what you're talking about, for us to pass like our attorneys to approve. The planning board cannot approve that. It's above their ability, because what we're dealing with does not say you can do that.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like with the very,
I mean, part of the ordinance thing we gotta do here. One of the things our ordinance is, we have to look here. You have to put stakes in the four corners. You have to put a 50-foot wide road from us to go in and take a look at the lot. But there's not gonna be a road to look at the lot.
No, there won't be any problem with that.
And it sounds like the one being stakes in the four corners. So there's nothing the planning board can approve of what you're doing. Yeah, we can deny it, yes, but we can't approve.
Where would he go to get something like that approved?
He would have to give us a document stating the things that we are bringing up that we can't approve. And we would have to take that by our town law, league. You can't, none of us can. We do not have the authority, because he's asking, not Tyler. They're asking for something that you don't have, it's not there what you're asking for.
I understand, let me ask you a question. To avoid all of this, he wouldn't need planning board or anybody else's permission to make that one lot.
That's, it already is one.
It is one lot, correct?
Well,
I'm saying, one, the two that is divide, don't divide it into two lots, make that one additional lot from the one that's down there.
You're saying convey this land, all this land with one of these parcels?
Yeah.
Thing?
Yeah.
We've run that, I don't personally run that by David, and he's not, he's.
But see, that answers all of our problems, because you have access to Route 1 to it.
I mean,
But you
you
still-
have access from Route 1 to
You'll still need.
both of these as well. I mean, it doesn't matter if there's a political line that's been placed here, the access is the same.
There's no physical road.
There is a physical road. It's in, it
Not,
just happens to be in an
not,
adjacent town.
not to the lots.
From Lincolnville.
This will be sold as one lot.
It doesn't matter. I don't know what the board wants to do, if you want to continue. But my position that you can't make a decision unless you have a legal understanding from the town attorney. I don't see you have the authority to approve it.
What is the town attorney going to look at? Is he going to be, or she going to be able to say, go ahead and do that without the road? Does she have the authority?
Yes, they do.
They do have the authority.
Because what we're counting on them to do is a silence of the opinion that that can happen. So legally, the attorney will take and dig deeper than this, outside of what we have identified is what we are allowed.
But they may still come back and say, no, you can't.
Absolutely.
let me frame it from this standpoint. Say this wasn't a subdivision over here. This was just one lot. This was just one lot. They were both owned by the same person. If the person that owned the entirety of this came to you and asked for a building permit to put a house right here, assuming all the site conditions are fine, no steep slopes or anything, would you not grant them a
I would
building?
not.
You wouldn't grant
Down
them
the
a
road,
I would not.
They have access here. They have a conforming.
If they had a 50-foot wide easement with a road surface of 22 feet across, getting to that, yes, I would. Then I would, because now it's got access to it, it's got road frontage, if you will. But if you bring a road across to the, yes,
I mean, if the person owned all this land, they effectively would be constructing a driveway, not a road. Right?
they would be entering into the property on a 60-foot wide access to the
No,
property.
they own the fee in this road.
Kyle, I guess I'm not getting through. If you do not have what we need to identify it as a legal lot in Lincolnville, regardless of what any place else, I can't issue a building permit. I need to have,
You know, go back to my hypothetical situation, this lot has frontage on Route 1. You wouldn't grant them a building permit to have a drive, you know,
you
this
still
is a huge property.
you still have to put a hammer in. The dead end lot, if you're putting,
So all new lots in Lincolnville that somebody's gonna put a driveway on has to have a hammerhead turnaround?
if you're putting in a landlocked lot,
It's not landlocked, it has road frontage.
okay. We can beat this jet run around circle, so I back out and it's up to the planning board what you want to.
well, I don't see how we can make it a determination to do anything with this, if it doesn't meet the specifications of the Lincolnville land use ordinance or the subdivision ordinance. It doesn't. I mean, even without the flagging, we couldn't.
There is no flag.
That's what I'm saying, there's no flagging there, so one of the things we have to do on a subdivision is do a site plan,
Right,
a walk.
right.
Well, first of all, with that slope, I don't know how many of you guys can get up, it's more than 15%.
That's like,
But then to get to those pins on the corners at the northwest road, that part there, yeah. How would we get to
Like
that?
solving that problem by the fact we can't prove it.
Yeah, so,
I mean, the subdivision ordinance doesn't state that the frontage for the lot needs to be in the town of Lincolnville. It says that the lot shall have frontage. You know, and sufficient to Lincolnville's road frontage requirement and the width requirement for the right of way, but it doesn't say explicitly in the subdivision ordinance that the frontage has to be in Lincolnville. I mean,
Yeah, but you
this
don't-
is an odd, I completely understand.
I don't disagree with
Yeah.
that, because what I thought you were presenting to us that in another town,
Mhm.
there's a road going up to a property and it's crossing borders coming to our town.
Yeah.
That's the road.
Right.
But you're saying to us there's not going to be a road because the same owner owns both sides of the line, which means in Lincolnville, those are two pieces that are land. There's no road to them.
I mean, the town line is just a political boundary, and this person
That's
that's
how
always,
it's not a road.
what,
The boundary is not a road.
I understand that. But the definition of a tract or parcel of land in the subdivision ordinance is all contiguous land in the same ownership, which this satisfies. This satisfies, this would be one lot, tract, this would be one tract or parcel of land.
Okay, I recuse myself. No offense.
I understand exactly what you're saying, but I think our hands are tied in this. Okay, does anybody have any?
I'm just wondering if there's another way to do this without calling it a subdivision,
Well,
to achieve what
yeah, I thought,
Kyle's proposing.
right, and to make that just one lot. you wouldn't require, it wouldn't be
You
a
still
subdivision.
have to have a road.
But he'd have a right of way from the bottom one.
Yes, that would solve the
That
problem.
would solve the problem, but you're saying Mr. Hirschfeld wants to do that.
Well, I mean, this area is encumbered by conservation. You can't put, you
What
can't,
about, he owns that first lot, someone else owns that first lot down there?
this one,
Yeah.
Doug Clayton owns that piece.
He did, as long as he did.
Hirschfeld used to own that.
He did, that was part of the subdivision.
Yeah, you should have put a right of way to that area.
They could still.
Well, I mean,
they could still
this
do it.
lot owns the entire road here, the entirety of this. This lot has the right to use a 50-foot wide corridor that's centered on this road.
That's fine. That's Northport's taken care of.
Yeah.
But Lincolnville is not.
Well, but could he do a right of way from that's called Serene Road, is it?
Some Ranger Drive, yes.
Serene Drive?
That's what I thought that they were doing.
Could you do a right of way without having to actually make the physical road?
No, you need the road. You need the-
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna be reviewed under subdivision, then it have to meet all the subdivision road requirements.
So excuse me.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Currently, if they were able to build a house on one of those lots. They could run a driveway from that road. Would that be part of the plan that you're envisioning?
There's no building envelope that's gonna be proposed on this upper lot.
There's no connectivity.
Then why did you do the test? The same test?
Because I didn't realize at the time when we did the septic test that the grades were so extreme for majority of the property.
I heard you imply that when you said that was a possible building site in the future, so maybe I just.
Down bottom.
Down at the bottom here, the grades do flatten out. There are small pockets of sub 15% grades, and that's where he was able to get some of his test pits there,
Basically, that lot is unbuildable. The second lot.
Mhm.
the upper lot. I mean, is there an opportunity for this to be reviewed jointly between Lincolnville Planning Board and the Northport Planning Board?
They don't
Why
have
is
to-
that?
You're asking them to do something that they would get in trouble because they don't have the approval.
Then we get in trouble for.
But the subdivision statutes like actually states that if a subdivision bridges two
I
municipalities.
think the implication is that if it does, does it say that if it reaches two counties?
Yeah, that there shall be joint meetings held between the two municipalities. Although one town can waive that if they feel like a majority of it is in one town versus the other.
The planning board cannot waive any ordinance. They do not have the authority. It would have to be appealed.
So can the joint meeting be held between the two towns?
Yeah, but
I mean, that's part of the subdivision statute. It might even be in your ordinance.
Hmm. No,
Impact on adjoining municipalities, that would be in that section. For any proposed subdivision that crosses municipal boundaries, the proposed subdivision will not cause unreasonable traffic congestion or unsafe conditions with respect to the use of existing public roadways and an adjoining, okay, that doesn't quite deal with that.
so the intent is to sell the first lot with the ability to build something on it.
This lot?
Yeah.
Yes, there are a number of areas there that are under 15% that could site buildings.
Otherwise, it would just be limited as a lot. Who cares?
Right, exactly.
I think you need to run it by our town attorney.
Okay.
With what your proposal is, what do you think?
We certainly can't do anything with it.
No,
The only thing you can do to help the board out is document what you explained to us, not our word, yours.
Right.
as to what exactly you're planning to do. With the exclusion of the fact that you could not be having a road to those two lots. Then we can run it by legal.
Okay. You said during our interaction, back and forth that you were gonna contact them, because I wasn't allowed to contact them directly.
I didn't have this information, and I was of the opinion that there was going to be a road to them.
No, I mean, this is what I had sent. I would have
And
shown it.
this is why I did the research with legal about the turnaround, and I hadn't had this concern, because I thought there was to be a road. So it's clear now what we're talking about. So if you can document that, give it to me, and I'll immediately turn it over to them.
Okay.
And it would seem to me that if there are assurances that's not a buildable lot, and it would, when it, in the future, if it's conveyed, it's gonna be conveyed with one
Right.
in Northport.
Right.
Well, then perhaps the town attorney can say, well, that's okay. I don't know.
Right.
It may give us the opportunity to.
I entirely agree that what I'm proposing here can't work if these lots are sold separately. They need to be sold jointly in order for the combined lot to have the road frontage requirement that Lincolnville requires. Yeah. I mean, the goal is to not have these lots, this lot be made separate from this, and this lot be made separate from that, because again, Frank's right, that at that point, if this was sold by itself, it wouldn't have any road frontage, it would never be able to get a building permit issued for it.
I just move.
Yeah, well, no, it's not.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess my next step is to write a letter explaining what the.
And I will immediately pass it along. But our intention is not to stop your whole.
No, I understand.
It's not that our hands are tied, it's
Yeah.
because we have to think what's in here. And if we can't satisfy that, we have no choice. If there's a possibility that something can be legally outside of what's here, then we'd be glad to move ahead with it.
Well, who makes the ordinance?
You do.
Lincolnville does.
Right.
The town. Can the select board make exceptions?
So that would cause a lot of problems. Okay, have to go through the process. The select board can say, okay, we're gonna have a town meeting. And 10% of the registered voters have to be there and approve it, otherwise it doesn't happen.
Could the planning board, as a condition of approval, make it that this lot needs to be conveyed with that? I mean, that could be a condition of approval, could it not?
Well, put down what you want, what you're asking us to approve, that's what we need, put that down, so it's not our words, it's coming from the applicant.
And it would be not just lots 1, but also lots 2.
Yes, this lot would be required to be conveyed with this lot,
Yep.
this lot would be required to be conveyed with that, make it a condition of approval, so. It's an enforceable action by the planning board at that point.
In 25 years, if we're both gonna use the subdivision, I'd rather.
Oh, yeah, I completely understand it. I mean, you and I went round and round with the fact that this lot isn't buildable, which is an unusual concept too, but, this is unconventional in the fact that the person doing the subdivision owns this adjacent land. He's not really concerned with the buildability of that lot because he's not trying to sell it on the open market. It's meant to be just kind of buffer land that's going along with it. So that's the real value for him in that piece is the buffer that has
And
to.
see, we had the same thing in Lincolnville and Searle, with an airport on one side of the lot, but it's a separate lot. And so this is the same thing, unless if it's by device, agreed by court or deed. Same thing would apply here.
I'm not following what you're saying.
Would have to be legally binding what you said.
What?
The fact that in the deed, it's going to be looking at those as one lot. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Well, I mean, the subdivision statute looks at this as one lot
Right.
presently. Because they're in common ownership.
That may require specific legality to make that legal on the deed.
Right, like a covenant and restriction written into the deed that the land being conveyed in this deed would
Right.
describe all of this.
And that would be a buffer zone, a non-buildable. buffer
Right.
zone.
I mean, I'm under the impression that if we do move forward, in the future with this property is in the view shed area, which means it's gonna most likely be a conservation subdivision, which on a conservation subdivision, you're required to define building areas. So if there's no building area shown on our conservation subdivision plan, then effectively there's no building area that will be allowed to be built in.
Okay, so it's back to me as soon as you can.
And as you say, the proposed lot number one, there's very limited building access anyways.
Right, I mean, the grades here are certainly less steep than this segment here. So I presume someone really wanted to push the issue and get a road to it in sub 15% areas, they probably could achieve it, but it would be a challenging task.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any comments or thoughts on it? We'll have to make a motion to have this project tabled until the applicant can provide the information that we discussed with our legal authority. Clarity. Correct.
Second.
Gentlemen, second. Okay. Any discussion further? All in favor? Sorry, Mr. Tyler.
Now let's go play the radio.
Yeah.
The meeting.
There's no other business before the board, so I'd like to have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second. Discussion, all in favor? There we go. Well, that was good.
Hello, we're gonna get something.
You would think there would be an easier way to do that.
I would like to see if the town is going to figure out an easier way to do it.
My knee is bothering me too.
I know, so it's gonna, I'm gonna try to get a drone.
Well, I guess.
Oh.
Just for buffer.
Yeah.
You need to convey that in the deed.
Yeah, but here's the problem. The problem I have with that is that it's all well and good and say you can convey it in the deed, but who's gonna check it down the road?
Yeah, I mean, they already sold
What
low
makes it-
down
what
here.
makes it legal?
No, gonna,
Does that make sense?
You're right, you're totally right.
Oh.
Have a good evening. Enjoy the evening.
Well, this is one of the more interesting ones we've had. The last year, typically there's 6-minute meetings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're working overtime.
Yeah, we get, well, we'll take it in the.
I'm gonna keep on through this, but there's a lot on it.
Yeah.
It's been getting me underlined, how many years since the date?
We have Frank.
Yeah.
That's.
We may all, may.
You only did it once.
And Joe.
Leaving that on the-
Okay.
If we had done it, we'll get rid of it. Oh.
No, sorry, you did a good job.
We take her to what?
No,
No,
no, I'm taking my book.
There's some last sheet. It's not his long. It's next to it.
Oh, so that lot, that house sold, so,
Yeah. You know,
no, I didn't know.
my cousin, well, my cousins, Peter and Judy Robertson, granddaughter,
Oh, good.
And Judy lives right at the crest of the hill, and the foot of the main slope. Her father lives just below the hill, crest of the hill. And her aunt lives right across from me. So we kind of. This is an exciting planning board. They actually expected us to vote on. That wild. We're going to have a head on the top of the block of the blood.
Well, we don't, prove anything out of the application. We just-
No, we're looking ahead to what was being going to be asked.
Then we have the.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, well, all right, I made it when we had a question.
Yeah, but you know what? He wanted us to do something that would have got us in trouble. I mean, he tried to sell us, so look, you guys can do it. I think what you want, I think, okay, all right.
Hi, Frank.
You're really second. No,
Yeah, so we can copy that in the name later, whether, right? But I never saw the copy.
oh, yeah. I don't think we're gonna need it though. Tell you what, good sandwiches.